Can you believe at one point that DMV offices could just give our addresses to people? It's kind of strange when you think about it. Hello, and welcome to the True Crime Lounge podcast. I have a YouTube channel called True Crime Lounge as well. You can also find me on Facebook and Instagram. I also have a merch shop that you can go and check out as well. And any of the proceeds from that will go to sexual organization for the advocate of that for the color that it is advocating for. Um, with that being said, let's jump into today's episode, shall we? Today we're going to be talking about Rebecca Shaeffer and the anti-stalking laws. Can you believe though at one point that DMV's offices could just give our drivers personal home address and information out just like that? It's kind of crazy when you stop and think about it. This and so why did so what happened exactly to where the DMV offices were like, okay, we cannot do this anymore. Well, we're going to talk about that in today's episode in case of Rebecca Shaeffer. Um, so, how many of us know who Rebecca Shaeffer is? Um, I actually know some of her work, but for those of you that don't know, she is an actress. Um, she played in shows like My Friend Sam, I think that's what it's called, The Godfather, and all of that. So, what is the Rebecca Shaeffer case, and how did it exactly change the stalking laws? Well, celebrity stalkers are, according to District Deputy Attorney Marcia Clark, celebrity stalkers are attracted to the image of accessibility. And it's not a question of love. It's not like love is a question of, and it's not a question of ideals. So, who exactly is our victim, Miss Rebecca Shaeffer? Well, Rebecca Shaeffer was still in her. And what exactly happened the morning of her of the day she got murdered? Well, the morning of it, she got murdered, she was still in her bathrobe when she heard a knock on her door. She answered with eagerness because she was knowing that the script for the next audition, The Godfather Part 3, was due to arrive at any moment. Schaeffer walked past the clothes that were splayed, splayed out. Um, on the bed before her, chosen long in advance for her audition the next day, and reached her door handle. She could only assume that the man on the other side of the door was there to deliver the script to the person. But when she opened the door and she saw the man for herself, he didn't appear to be a casting assistant. He was young with dark hair and a serious expression. In his hands were a wrinkled bag in red covered in a red covered book, both clutched tightly to his chest. He turned out not to be a casting assistant at all, but he also asked her about some mail that he had sent weeks before. She smiled and nodded, pretending to know what he was talking about, and more importantly, not to show any fear. How he how did he have her address exactly? Is what she was thinking. Well, she told him please take care and closed the door in his face. So, who exactly is she now? Well, that was the morning of the case, but who exactly is she now? Well, Rebecca Schaeffer was born in Eugene, Oregon, November 6, 1967. She attended Lincoln High School before pursuing modeling in New York City in 1984, where she attended the professional children's school. During that time, she was able to obtain a few roles but at 5 feet 7, she was considered too short for her too short for high fashion modeling. So in 1985, she decided to move to Japan in order to find some more modeling jobs. Still struggling, she eventually returned to New York. Over the next few years, she held many film and television roles, including a Woody Allen title, Radio Days. Unfortunately, most of her performances was cut from the film. Her big break came when it came with casting in the new sitcom My Sister Sam, opposite Pam Dauber. I apologize if I said my friend Sam earlier. Um, but though the series was canceled halfway through the second season, it was an instant hit. Over the next few years, Shaeffer had roles in The End of Innocence, Out of Time, scenes from The Class Struggle and Beverly Hills, and became spokesperson for the charity Thursday's Child. Shaeffer was able to find an apartment in the Fairfax district of West Los Angeles after the cancellation of the second season of My Sister Sam and her newfound success in other projects. So after closing the doors, Shaeffer returned to wrapping her work. So, okay, let's stop for a second and jump back to now the day of what the crime and what happened. Now that we talked about who she is. Well, after she closed the door, she returned to her bedroom, wrapping her wardrobe tighter and shivered. There was no way that she'd be able to concentrate on her audition now. She didn't have long to worry though, because before there was another knock on the door. She hesitated. Should she answer? It was not that man again, or it could be the casting agent. She pondered the thought for a moment, handing uh with her hand resting on top of the door handle. Either way, she supposed she ought to get over it with if over it was the man. And she told him, "You came to my door again," with a sigh, and it was like, and she said, "Hurry up, I don't have time." So who was the assailant exactly? Well, Robert John Bardo had been traveling for hours. It was his second attempt to see Shaeffer, the latest of strings of celebrities that he had become fixated on. He wasn't sure what her reaction would be of to the sight of a fan at her door, but it certainly wasn't this. He had expected her to be pleased to see a fan. At the very least, he expected her to let him into her apartment. Seriously, dude, you can't just show up at someone's house like that, no matter who they are. Um, but he was in a diner, pondering his options when he remembered the disc and the letter he meant to give her. He returned to the apartment. You came to the door again. Hurry up, I don't have much time. He pulled out the 357 Magnum pistol and shot her in the doorwell of her apartment. She was pronounced dead 30 minutes later. Although a number of celebrity stalking cases have only seemed to increase with the introduction of social media into our daily narrative, they are nothing new. A man camped in the backyard of singer-songwriter Joni Mitchell for days, writing endless letters containing violent fantasies involving her. She had no choice but to hire armed guards, so the stabbing of Teresa Saldana inspired Bordeaux's tactics in the first place, prompting him to hire a private investigator to find her address. Not to mention the then still recent murder of John Lennon. So, before Shaeffer, Bardo had shown interest in a number of other celebrities. Briefly, he fixated on Madonna. But the most notable was Samantha Smith, a child peace activist. So that same year Smith was killed in a plane crash, he had moved on to Shaeffer. So, it's like, okay, I'm gonna stop here for a second. Like, dude, you have a problem. Okay, with these. Like, stalking. I get, like, being, okay, I've never been famous, but still, like, stalking is too cringy, I think, really and truly. But, anyway, let's jump back in. In the following years, many letters was written to Shaeffer, fan mail containing chilling lyrics to songs by John Lennon. Most of the letters had been intercepted before they could reach Shaeffer, and only resurfaced after her death. As the letters were unanswered, Bardo began to plan his first attempt to make contact with Shaeffer. He bought a ticket to Los Angeles and headed to Warner Bros. Set with a teddy bear and a letter. He was then turned away by security before he had the chance to see Shaeffer. So Bardo returned to his home in Tucson, Arizona, when he continued to write the letters to Shaeffer. A young actress later appeared to him in an indie film entitled "Scenes from the Class Struggle in Beverly Hills", in which she appeared in a love scene between her and a fellow male actor. This infuriated Bardo, later describing the actress as losing her morality and innocence. According to the Los Angeles County prosecutors, around the time he had written a letter to his sister containing something along the lines of, "If he couldn't have the actress, then nobody would." Seriously, dude. Really? It would only cost him $250 to hire a private investigator to find the address through DMV records. $250 at that time. Still, why was this not protected beforehand? Anyway, the address was provided as part of the driver's license information released by the California Department of Motor Vehicles. It was the same tactic used by Arthur Jackson when he attempted to murder Teresa Saldana only after a few years before. Saldana survived the stabbing and helped lobby for anti-stalking laws as well as the 1994 Driver's Privacy Protection Act. So, Bardo, underage at the time, was able to attain the gun through his older brother. So he purchased his ticket to Los Angeles, July 18, 1989. And he made his second attempt to see Shaeffer, this time at her home address. Later in the evening, Bardo's sister phoned to Tennessee Highway Control, who did notify the Los Angeles Police Department that Bardo had called her prior to the shooting, telling her that he was near Shaeffer's home. Bardo returned to Tucson, where he was found wandering a highway downtown. According to the Tucson police, he appeared to be disoriented and attempting to commit suicide by running toward oncoming cars. So, Tucson police notified Los Angeles police after he made statements regarding the shooting. So, after fleeing the crime scene, it was found that Bardo discarded the catcher of the rye and another hunting reference to the shooting of John Lennon. So, what was the aftermath of this? the shooting of Rebecca Shaeffer. Well, during the trial, Bardo stated that the YouTube song Exit was an influence for murder and was played by the evidence. His attorneys argued that Bardo suffered from a mental illness. Psychiatrist Park Dowell's deities, who testified for his defense, said that Bardo had schizophrenia and would often commit suicide. His prosecutor, Marcia Clark, Marcia or Marcia? Because I see Marcia and I really want to go Marcia. So bad. But later known for being the prosecutor for the O.J. Simpson murder trial, just 3 years later argued that he was sane. Bardo was charged for first-degree murder and sentenced to a life imprisonment without parole. The Shaeffer case, along with the Saldina stabbing, led to the passing of the Driver's Privacy Protection Act, finally, and this would restrict the release of home addresses. Finally. Anyway, in 1989, the case helped spark the creation of the LAPD Threat Management Unit, a police team specializing in stalking cases, and it was the first of its kind in the United States. So, stalking laws were previously non-existent in every state, including California. After Shaeffer's death, the first stalking law was passed in 1991, with major revisions in 1994 creating the California Penal Code Section 646.9. It gave law enforcement more freedom to intervene in stalking cases throughout the years. Then more states began to adopt more and more states would eventually adopt similar anti-stalking laws. Okay, y'all. Isn't it crazy though how it took the death of an actress, the attempted death of another activist to create these anti-stalking laws? Like that's crazy. Like, and you would think that the DMV office should have known better than to release the home address of someone. But yeah. Anyway, that's it for today's episode. Remember to go check out my social media for more information. You can also go check out my YouTube channel for more videos. Also, I do have a merch shop. Feel free to go check that out. Help a girl out. I will see y'all next time. Y'all have a great day.